So in our last example, let's read about it. It says, given a square with the length of the diagonal is 4 times the square root of 10 units, find the length of the sides of the square. So we're going to start and we're going to draw a picture. So one thing that we know for sure about a square are all sides have the same length. And that is what we're trying to find here. We're trying to find the length of the sides. Now, in the square, we know that we have a diagonal that is 4 times the square root of 10. We're trying to figure out what is the side lengths. So look at the picture that I have here. I know a square has 4 congruent sides, and I also know that it has 4 right angles. So what type of triangle am I talking about here? Well, it is an isosceles right, which means my ratio of my angles is 45, 45, 90. And so I'm going to use the ratio x times the square root of 2 to find the length of the missing sides. So since I know the diagonal, which is the hypotenuse, 4 times the square root of 10 goes with my right angle. Now I have to figure out what x is. Please be quiet. So I'm going to set up my equation to figure out what is x. So 4 times the square root of 10 is equal to x times the square root of 2. So now in this situation, again, like we did before, we're going to divide both sides by the square root of 2. And so now I've got 4 times the square root of 10 divided by the square root of 2. So again, I'm not allowed to have a radical in the denominator, and I've got to get rid of that radical. Now I do have a couple of options when it comes to simplifying, but I'm going to continue to go with this rationalizing the denominator. So if I multiply both the top and the bottom by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2, so then now I've got 4 times the square root of 10 times the square root of 2 over the square root of 2 times the square root of 2. The whole point of this is to get rid of the radical. So what that leaves me with is 4 times the square root of, and because we've got the same root, we can write them under the same house. So 4 times the square root of 20, if you want to break it down that way, over 2. Well, I know one thing, 4 over 2 is going to reduce down. So 4 divided by 2 reduces down. Sorry, I run out of room, so I'm having to go the opposite way. 4 over 2, 4 divided by 2 reduces down to 2. So now I have 2 times the square root of 20, but we can break 20 down even more. 20 breaks down to 4 times 5, and 4 breaks down to 2 and 2. So I've got 2 times the square root of 2 times 2 times 5. 2's come out. And so now I've got 2 times 2 times the square root of 5, or in other words, 4 times the square root of 5. So what is the length of the sides of my square? They're each 4 times the square root of 5. Now you could extend this problem if you wanted to figure out the perimeter. Let's say that you're buying material to build a frame. If you know the diagonal of the picture and you need to figure out how much material you've got to use, you could do 4 times the square root of 5 times 4, which would be 16 times the square root of 5. But like I said, you could go pretty far with this problem if you wanted to. Now, if you want to check your work, let's say that you're not 100% sure. Remember how you can use the Pythagorean theorem to justify. So 4 times the square root of 5 squared plus 4 times the square root of 5 squared, is that equal to 4 times the square root of 10 squared? Okay, sorry, that's my children screaming in the background. This is what happens when you film your videos at home. So, when in doubt, expand it out. 4 times 4 is 16. Square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is 5. 16 times 5 is 80. So this becomes 80 plus 80, which is 160. Is that equal to 4 times the square root of 10 squared? So 4 times 4 is 16. Square root of 10 times the square root of 10 is 10. And 16 times 10 is 160. So yes, I did it right. And again, this was just to check and see that what we've done is mathematically correct. This is a way to check our work. So what you're going to be doing now is you're going to practice some problems. This is going to be a self-check. This is not something you've got to turn in. You've got 20 problems that you're going to work on using everything you know. Pythagorean theorem, 45, 45, 90, and 30, 60, 90. And then when you're ready, go through and watch the videos to see how you did.